Well, you've had far too many men speak so far, so I'm going to give the microphone first to my wife, Fumiko, to share a little bit of her experience in Korea.
Okay. Good evening, everybody. World is full of surprise that I didn't expect to be here just until a few seconds ago. Anyway, thank you so much for the sharing with great passion. And I'm so glad that you had the opportunity to come. And yes, because people came for just because of the everybody's common goal to really bring peace in this kind of desperate society and the world. Who doesn't need a peace? Everybody seeking to know where's the peace. How can we bring peace this world? And this behind this passion, behind this great summit, and behind this people's enthusiasm is really heavily parents, God, and this founders' passion for the bringing peace. And in order to bring peace, we really, yes, need politicians. Yes, we need religious leaders, or media people, or sports people. All the different people came together, and the people really representative of a different area, and it was incredibly extraordinary event. And actually, even you didn't come, you are the part of this great movement. And we're so truly grateful that you are here this evening. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Actually, in some ways, this event, I felt, represented the culmination of a 20 years old dream. In August of 2000, the founder, Father Sun Myung Moon, went to the United Nations, and he proposed a pretty bold proposal that the United Nations consider reforming itself by adding a second house to become a bicameral institution like Parliament here in the UK, and that an upper house be created not of more politicians or, but religious leaders, spiritual leaders, cultural leaders, lots of women and young people, because he felt that as it was, the United Nations is not quite there. Of course, there are many very dedicated and self-sacrificing people working at the UN, and it's my privilege to have met many of them, including Ban Ki-moon, who was there in Korea. But they are also there with a brief to advance the position of their own country and its allies, and sometimes there's divisions into blocs and separate groups, and they don't always see eye to eye. In fact, every year UPF attends the General Assembly in September, and we try to meet the presidents and prime ministers outside of the General Assembly, because inside the General Assembly, with the spotlight of the media and the TV, they can say quite harsh things, and I'm sure we all remember some of them. But outside, as men and women, something different happens, because actually they do all come for one purpose. As you know, one of the themes of UPF is that peace starts with me. And if you think about peace in yourself, it means you have to have a healthy mind and a healthy body. It means you have to have harmony and balance in your life. And what would that look like on a global level? I think it would look quite a lot like this conference here, with people representing the mind. I have to include Sheikh Ramsey there, and all the spiritual leaders, the artistic and cultural leaders, the ballet, all these things. And yes, people representing the body, the politicians, the business leaders, the media perhaps. And bringing this kind of synthesis or unity on a global level, it's very important. But our job here in the United Kingdom is to think, how can we bring something like that and implement it right here in the UK? Now, it's true, we had, I think, about 20 current and former prime ministers from Europe. There was France, Italy, Spain, Portugal, Denmark, Finland, Sweden, Czech, Montenegro, Turkey, and Ireland. But no Great Britain. That really gave me Italy, yes, Pakistan, anyway, Iran, but no Great Britain. We actually asked every living former prime minister of Britain if they would come. What I'm hoping is that based on the success of this event and the testimony that we're collecting, that they'll reconsider next time. And we are planning, as you know, to hold a summit, not on that scale, here in the UK in October or so. And two interesting things, just to conclude. First interesting thing is, why was it held February the 3, 4, 5, 6, 7? It was to celebrate the centenary of our founder, whose birthday by the lunar calendar was February the 6th, but his actual 100th birthday is today. But if we had had this conference today, we would not have had the conference, because back then the coronavirus was still outside of Korea, and now it's inside. So as the Sheikh prayed, we feel lucky and fortunate. Is that a cough you've got there, Sheikh? But sometimes the most interesting things happen in unexpected ways. So let me finish by telling you a funny story. So one thing that we really wanted to do, of course, was to have President Moon Jae-in of South Korea come to the conference, but he didn't. However, something interesting happened. We had a delegation of 4 parliamentarians from Russia, all members of Vladimir Putin's party, and one of them came with his wife, who's a very accomplished artist indeed. And she was thinking to herself, what kind of gift can I give to Mother Moon for this very important occasion? I know, I'll paint a picture of her husband. So really quickly, she Googled Moon, Korea, found the picture. Don't spoil the story, Margaret. Painted the picture, really beautiful, wrapped it up, framed it, brought it to Korea, ready to present. Somebody had the good idea to just check before the presentation that everything was good. And it wasn't a picture of Father Moon, it was a picture of Moon Jae-in, the president. But she had enough astuteness to say, okay, well, let's take it to the Blue House, which is the Korean presidential house, and let's present it to the president. We won't bother to tell him that it was accidentally painted. So they went to the Blue House. Actually, the president was out, but his chief of staff was there, and they made the presentation of this beautiful portrait, actually, and said, well, how come do you happen to be here? Because actually Russian MPs don't usually go to South Korea, and they were able to explain that they were there as part of the UPF delegation, and that they had come to further the ties between South Korea and Russia, making it up on the spot, and presenting this really well-executed painting. So it was kind of funny. I told Mother Moon about this at breakfast one morning. She laughed like a drain. She thought, oh, we need more mistakes like that, Anyway, I think that we're trying to collect together the various speeches. I should mention that Keith gave a great speech. It was such a large conference that we had 1,004 people from Europe alone, and about 400 of them at the UPF conference. And it was really good, and it's an illustration, I think, of the wisdom of Father and Mother Moon's philosophy, which they used to call headwing. It's kind of an ugly term, but we all know about right wing and left wing. But Father Moon said, as long as there's right wing and left wing, there'll never really be peace. We need to come up to a higher level and see things as a parent would see them. Now, most of you here are parents. We have 5 children ourselves. And what do children do when they're growing up? They fight, right? But as a parent, you never want to just take one side or the other. You're always hoping that they'll learn to love each other. And, this is what we need. And if I think even of this one organization, the Parliamentarians for Peace, I was explaining just earlier, and it was only founded 4 years ago, but how desperately we need parliamentary cooperation, right? We don't see any of that in Westminster hardly these days. It's even worse in my country, the United States. The concept of collegiality, of reaching out across the aisle, of cooperating on things that are good for the nation as a whole. In so many countries, that culture has really fallen down. I think that's true, right, Keith? It's just not how it should be. So actually, UPF is doing a great job because we are providing another mechanism, another place where people can come to be together and realize, actually, we're all on the same team. It doesn't matter the politics, it doesn't matter the skin color, the religion. These are small differences compared to the big goal, which is creating peace. So anyway, thank you for coming and for your consistent support of UPF. When we go to these foreign events, we always think about the network back home and wish that you could be there, present in person. But when we have the summit here in the UK, you have to be there in person. And you have to bring your friends and even your enemies as well, actually. Oscar Wilde said you've got to keep, isn't it, your friends close and your enemies closer. You have to bring them and let them see that we really are one family under God. Thank you very much, everyone.